Well, we decided to go ahead and take off from Seeley Lake, so I parked Sport right there in the background, and I made sure that she had a little bit of sun for the solar panels because our batteries were low overnight. We're going to have to worry about fixing that a little bit later on. Probably upsize the battery bank or something. But I figured we would stop off at a place my wife has really been wanting to see, and to be completely honest, I've been wanting to see it too. It's called Sculptures in the Wild, okay? Now this is one of those videos where I'm going to show you absolutely everything that this place has to offer, okay? And I'm going to start right now with basically the parking lot. You can see it right here. It is a loop. So I drive a 36-foot long school bus, and there is potential to be able to swing around. If not, you can pull in, back out, and do a 3-point turn. Now I'm going to swing around the other way back, show you how much room you got, and then right back there, those are your vault toilets in case you got to use the bathroom, all right? So we're getting ready to go up to the information board. I'll cue back up in a second and show you that, and then after that, I'm going to show you all the sculptures throughout the entire loop so that you see everything that's here, just in case you can't make it, okay? But keep in mind, this is going to be one of the few videos where I actually do show you absolutely everything, okay? Because you got to leave some mystery and stuff for some people, all right? So you guys take care, and I'll see you in a bit. Oh, the joys of having a school bus as an RV. You can see one of the sculptures in the background real quick, but I just figured I'd queue up, show you the information board. There are some pamphlets right here. My wife grabbed one right there.
Gives you the walkthrough and tells you a little bit about the sculptures along the way, so guided tour.
Right, self-guided. So here's the plaque right here. Go ahead and pause the video if you have to so that you can read all that information. And then I'll give you this one real quick on the sky view, just like that. And there is a donation box that honestly has a QR code, so you can pause the video and scan that QR code if you want. And now off into the sculptures. So that was actually pretty funny. That's the first time a kid has wanted to go check out my school bus and then cried because he couldn't, because it's really not a school bus. So anyway, there's a couple more plaques here. They do ask that you do not smoke, obviously. And then please respect the artwork and don't climb on it. And then that information right there, which is obviously probably the loop and stuff like that. You've got sculptures path and handicap access and stuff like that. They also have it on the pamphlet right there. So you'll get to, you know, have plenty of information through this place. Now, each one of these has a plaque, okay? So I'll show you another one of the plaques right here. Just like that. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to. Now, every time I pass one of these sculptures, I will in fact try to show you the plaque along with the sculpture. I really do like the one in the background, which is that giant tin one right there. And as soon as we get a little bit closer to it, I'll go ahead and cue it up. But in the meantime, there's another plaque right here that has a gazebo over it with some picnic tables right there. So we'll zoom in a little bit on these plaques so that you can get to read them, give you an idea. So bird life of the upper Blackfoot Valley. Okay, there's that one if you want to pause the video and read it. And then animal life of the upper Blackfoot Valley right there. And you can pause the video to read that too. Looks like they've got weasels, black bears, bobcats, bull elk, red squirrels, moose, grizzly bears, pine martens, white-tailed deer, and coyotes. Pretty cool.
Welcome to Montana.
Yep, just like my wife said, welcome to Montana. And I'm kind of dressed a little bit more accordingly. Wearing a long sleeve, all that stuff. The only thing I don't have on are my boots. My wife, however...
I'm dressed for summer.
Yeah, exactly. So you get a little bit of mix and match. You can kind of dress how you want in a place like this. Some areas require you wear clothing like what I wear, depending on if you're dealing with mosquitoes and stuff like that. Other places, you can almost have nothing on. So yeah, we do have sand beaches on some of the lakes and stuff like that, just to let you guys know in case you're wondering. You know, I've got a couple of videos where I went to a lake and stuff like that, and rivers and everything, and it's not all rocks, but it's mostly rocks. And the path that we're on is a nice dirt path. Now, they do ask that you do not ride your bikes on this path, okay? There was a bike lock back there by the main info plaque, and so this is a walking path only. So as soon as we get to some other cool sculptures, I'll queue up in a second. But before I go to the next location, I have another plaque right here that kind of gives you an idea of what's coming up. So I'll show you that real quick. Right there. And now onto the sculptures. So I'll see you in a second. Well, there it is. Go ahead and read the plaque, and I'll get closer to that here in a second. But pause the video and read the plaque so that you can see it and you can get all the information on it, okay? Because these are made out of ponderosa pines. There's also another information plaque just on the other side, which I'm going to go ahead and go to real quick. And as I do, we're going to get a little bit closer to the whirlpool. Now, do not climb on this, okay? Don't walk on it. Don't walk around it too close or anything like that, because they really do try to preserve the way things are out here. So there's the plaque, if you want to go ahead and pause it and read it. And honestly, that thing is pretty cool, especially made out of logs. So there's a giant boulder in the middle right there that you can go ahead and see. And in case you're wondering, that's the closest you need to be getting to these things, especially something like this. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's just logs. Well, it's destruction if you're walking on it, believe it or not. You're actually contributing to the breakdown of the material if you're trying to climb on it, okay? So always keep that in mind when you're in a place like this, all right? So honestly, that's a really cool sculpture. You can walk a little bit around it. There is a little bit of a trail in case you wanted to loop all the way around the thing. But honestly, from the primary trail, it's really all you need to see. I don't see a reason to walk around it or anything like that unless you're doing photos. If that's the case, the entrance to the trail is over there. And then right around here, where my wife's standing, is usually as far as you need to be able to be to take a picture. And if you don't think that's far enough, the trail right there gives you plenty of distance so that you can go ahead and catch this whirlpool in the background. Now, as you can see, the sculptures are not close, so this is a walking trail, so be prepared and wear comfortable shoes, all right? Now, this is absolutely hilarious. You see me, full pants, like I said, the only thing I'm not wearing are my boots, and yes, these are the Desert Storm pants that I'm wearing, okay? Not the first one, the second, desert issue of camouflage. But you also notice I'm wearing a long sleeve, and my wife is wearing that. And what was the first thing out of her mouth right after I shut off the clip from the whirlpool?
Watch for the deer flies. They're biting today.
Yeah, she's worried about getting bitten by deer flies. Meanwhile, I'm not having any issues. I just think that's funny. So if you don't know what a deer fly is, it's essentially the middle-sized fly from a horse fly. Okay, if you've ever seen a horse fly, they're big, like big, okay? Probably a little bit bigger than that first joint where my nail is on my pinky. A deer fly, a little bit smaller than that, and they bite and it hurts, okay? But here's one of the other sculptures. You got to see the back of it while I was talking about deer flies. Now you get to see the front of it. That's honestly pretty cool. And then when you come up right over here, there's a plaque, because this thing does not really have a general direction on how you can walk through here. But as you can see, they call it Sculptures in the Wild because I'm essentially in the forest, okay? So it is the wild. There's a bunch of animals that can come by at any given time, stuff like that. It just depends on how loud you are. You're probably not going to see any in this video because I'm making the video and I'm actually talking, so I'm making a lot more noise than most people would. But here's the plaque for that sculpture right there. If you want to go ahead and pause the video and read it. And then on top of that, if you do get tired, honestly, we've walked not even a quarter mile. It does get really hot in Montana, okay? Most people don't think about it because we're mostly in the Rockies on the western side of Montana. The plains get really hot and dry, and the Rockies get really hot and dry. So everybody that wants to move up here, keep in mind, we burn a lot, okay? We have a lot of fires just like California and a lot of other places. We are very dry, just like a lot of other places. I know it looks green, and I know there's trees around, and you think it's all cool and awesome, and the temperature's really low, and we got a lot of water. I hate to break it to you, we really don't, okay? There's a lot of things going on, and I'll explain those in another video. But like I said, on that note, they give you a spot to sit down if you need to, all right? So we're gonna walk up to the next sculpture. Now this is one of the reasons, aside from the forest around me, on why they ask you not to smoke. Go ahead and zoom in and read that plaque. It should be legible. I've got the sun out of it enough at the right angle. But this one's actually pretty cool, because this one gives you the ability to go in and sit inside of it, which is pretty awesome. But as you can see, it's made completely out of charred wood. Now this wood, I'm not gonna lie, will light like that and go up in flames. But we're gonna go ahead and walk into the inside of this thing because honestly, it looks really, really cool. Haha. It's almost like the inside of a hot tub. And it's actually a little bit cooler in here, believe it or not. There's benches all the way around. And then the doorway I walk through.
You know what's really nice about this one? You can actually still smell the wildfire smoke in the wood. You can still smell it.
Yeah, you actually can. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty impressive. So this one was built in 2019, and this artist is actually from the United States. What I like about the plaques is they tell you what materials the sculptures are made from, how big they are, height and width and all that fun stuff, and where the artist is from. So a lot of the ones that we've already passed are from out of the country. They're from Finland and Denmark, the United Kingdom. This is the first one we've passed from the US, which is really cool.
Right? So a little bit of information for you that you probably wouldn't have thought of when we came to a place like this. Now, I'm 6 foot tall, okay? And I have perfect clearance coming through that door. So if you're a tall guy, don't even worry about it. You're good to go. As for my wife, well,
I'm 5'4", so it's all right.
she's short. But I'll have her walk through the door so you can get an idea how big the doorway is on this.
I can't reach the top.
Short people issues, right? Comment down below if any of you know what that's like. I'll see you at the next one. Well, go ahead and pause it. That way you can read it. And honestly, this one's called Stringer, but to me it looks like a giant mohawk, and I think it's pretty awesome. So this one is pretty cool. You can literally walk right up to it. It looks like you can walk under it, but I wouldn't climb on it, okay? Just like all the rest of these out here. Don't go climbing on them. It's just rude, it's disrespectful, and in all honesty, destructive. But there's the inside of it right there. And that thing looks pretty cool. So the trail continues this way, and then there's other trails that go back that way. So this isn't like a get on one trail and walk and walk and walk and walk and you're gonna see every single one in order. You kind of have to jump around, so make sure you don't miss anything if you come out here. But that's one of the reasons why I'm personally gonna try and show you absolutely everything in this video, right babe?
Yes. And for those of you that can make it out here, it is free to come and walk the trail yourself.
Just so you know that. And like I said, if you're driving a school bus, there is room in the parking lot. just be considerate and don't block the parking lot, all right? All right, so we're off to the next one.
So we're out here by another sculpture. This one's entitled Dancing Trees, and the artist is from Norway. This is one of the newer ones, constructed in 2022, so it's not in your trail book. So you definitely want to come out and check this place out, especially for these new ones. And they're always taking submissions for new artists too.
Some good information to know. So I'll zoom in on the plaque for you. Go ahead and pause that and read it. And then we're going to go ahead and take a look at the sculpture a little bit more up close. After you, honey.
Sure. From a distance, it actually looks like these trees are rings stacked together, so that's pretty interesting. And I would say that's totally what it is. It looks like each of these are same size segments of tree rings put together and stacked. It kind of reminds me of the inside of a pineapple when you core it for a party.
That's actually pretty cool. So this must have taken quite a while to go ahead and cut all these. I'll bring you in really, really close on an area with a little bit of sun so you can get an idea of what we're talking about. So each one of these obviously was not cut with a chainsaw. This was more likely like some type of bandsaw or sawmill that went ahead and cut. And then they stacked them all the way up. And I don't know if they nailed them together or what, but honestly,
That's
I
really
bet you
cool.
that took a long time and really complicated, because he probably had to number each one that was attached to the original log that was cut. So yeah,
That's really cool.
that is pretty cool. So we're going to get on to the next sculpture, which is right over there, just like that. And if you can see it in the background, cool. If not, you'll see it in a second. You see, this is what I'm talking about. This is the main reason why you don't go climbing on the statues. Somebody crumbled that bridge just from walking on it. And in case you haven't noticed, our creek is dry. No, I'm just kidding. The creek really is dry though, but it's just an indentation in the ground, so it's supposed to simulate a creek. And honestly, every single one of these is obviously hanging, and this is the way the sculpture was designed. It is in fact a bridge, and I will show you the plaque here in a second, but I just wanted to show you that. Now, same rules apply. Do not climb on this thing, because obviously it can't handle your weight. But this is another thing that was probably made from local lodgepole or something else. And obviously the decking boards are in fact milled, which is pretty cool. We do mill a lot of wood up here, but here is the plaque. It's called the bridge. So you can go ahead and pause the video and zoom into that if you'd like.
She's German.
Go ahead and read that. Deutsch, you know, German. So at least the artist was anyway. The bridge isn't. The bridge is in Montana, so it's American. But you can see the suspension system. It's going to be really hard to see, but the suspension is right up there. What they did is they tied to the upper trees to hang the ropes so they can hang the middle section. But this is what the bridge looks like. And because they did not want you walking on it, right there, the braid cable to keep you from walking up and over it and damaging the sculpture. So we're going to move on to the next one, so I'll see you guys in a second. It's time to storm the trenches!
Or at least these two guys from England thought when they constructed the next sculpture that we're going to go see.
Yeah, so go ahead and read the plaque, pause the video. It's right there, and you can see it in the background. It gives you a really good idea of what I was talking about. So we're going to go ahead and walk next to this one so you can see the whole thing. Now this honestly looks like it's a couple of feet deep.
4 feet to be exact, according to the plaque, and you can actually walk through this one.
Oh,
Or
well,
walk next to it if you want the sky view.
well, let's go ahead and have my wife walk in it so she can disappear. And then I'll walk next to it so you can barely see her.
It is almost as deep as I am tall.
It's got a little bit of a zigzag effect to it, so don't get dizzy in it.
Well, it just needs some black and white wall decor and make it look like you're going through a vortex or something.
That's actually pretty cool. Kind of gives you that log cabin type sense, you know what I mean?
I would kind of imagine this is what the miners would do.
Yeah.
Something like this. You've got your retaining wall system, and I imagine too for the guys that built this that it took them a while to dig this out and stack the lodgepole pine just right to keep the wall from collapsing.
Yeah, probably, but then you also have to keep in mind, I'll show you the path that I'm on right after we're done walking past it, but I'll show you this real quick. You see that paper right there? That's erosion matting. So this is where it pops back up out of the ground.
And I
Now-
probably took twice as many steps because mine was not the direct path.
Right? So my path was actually right next to it right there the whole time. Now when you build something like this, they dug the whole thing out, built the sculpture, and then filled it all in. Okay, that's how the erosion paper and all that stuff got there. And that's usually the only way you would be able to construct something like this without fighting dirt the whole time. So we're gonna move on to the next sculpture. We'll see you in a second. I told you. So this one is totally awesome. Come check this one out. This one is literally twisted up branches, okay? And if you ask me, it really does look like a witch's house.
I could totally live here.
Yeah, see, my wife can live there. In all honesty, I probably could too. But this one actually has a name, and the plaque is on the other side, so I'll show you that in a second. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and follow my wife and check it out. So it looks like,
Tall people beware.
oh, tall people beware. It looks like I might have to duck. Oh, wow.
Hallway with a courtyard.
Okay, so if you're really, really careful, you can squeeze in here to walk around the inside, as you can see. But do be careful, okay? Because I'm 6 foot tall and I'm hitting some of the branches in here. But honestly, this is pretty cool. We go ahead and walk around. There are some
Interior
trip
design.
hazards.
Interior design, I would make this the bedroom. It's big enough to fit a sleeping pad in here, so I would totally make this my bedroom. And walking around the corner, I would probably take it into the kitchen.
Honestly, this is the only part of it so far that has a complete roof. So I guess, you know, if you want to camp on the inside of this thing. Now it is hollow on the inside. I'll go ahead and squeeze in through here for a second just to kind of give you an idea. I'm on the inside of the ring right now and it is completely hollow. There is an open sky. And this must have taken a long time to make. But it is really, really cool. And like I said, you can kind of walk through the entire thing. It looks like right there you do have to pop out the wall and then back in the wall in order to do that.
Biggest entrance is right here.
So there are multiple entrances into this thing, and so far my wife has identified this one right here is in fact the biggest entrance to be able to get into this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through it real quick just to give you what it looks like on the opposite side of it, and then we're going to take a look at the plaque, and then after that I got one more I'm going to show you, and I'll show it to you a little bit more up close because it was in the beginning of the video. But here's the plaque right here, and I'm going to go ahead and bring you in really close. Go ahead and pause that so you can read it. And then you can take a look at the sculpture all the way in the background. Now there is kind of something right in front of me real quick, which I'm going to show you real quick, because honestly I didn't think it was there, but it kind of looks like tiki heads. So here's another one of those cool ones. Go ahead and read this one. Kind of makes your skin crawl, doesn't it? So, newspaper, and a whole bunch of other good stuff. But yeah, kind of tiki, you know what I mean? There are 3 of them, so, you know, don't get scared by the first one. I'm just kidding, guys. Anyway, and then there's this stack right here, which is all part of the art decor too. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought they were tiki heads carved out of like wood or something like that, but it was really cool to come take a look at them. They are pretty awesome. So now we're gonna go all the way out to the first sculpture, which you can see from the parking lot, and then that'll pretty much probably wrap up the video unless we see something else that's kind of cool that we want to show you.
And out here, you never know. But fun fact about this particular artist, she was actually born and raised here in Montana. So she is native.
Right? So you can see the house in the background, the circus, which is totally awesome, surrounded by tiki heads. So you do have a little bit of an initiation you have to go through in order to get to the circus. All right, so we'll see you guys in a second. Well, here's another one of those vegetation information plaques for you. You're gonna want to read this one, just like all the rest of them. So I'm gonna bring you over to this side. Hopefully that glare changes for you. Get you out of the way of the leaves. Come on, guys, work with me. There we go. Okay, go ahead and pause that and read that. Because just like I said, with all the vegetation plaques in this area, it's really helpful information. You want to know what you can eat, what you can avoid, and what can be used for what. Because the last thing in the world you want to do is poison yourself, right, honey?
Absolutely. But there's a lot of medicinal plants out here too. For those of you interested in herbology, I highly recommend stopping by one of the visitor centers, the gas stations. They have great information placards that you can keep with you in a backpack. So it's always interesting to find out what grows locally and what you can use it for, what you can eat, what you can turn into teas. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. Trust me, it's something you're really going to want to look into, especially if you're even considering coming out here, or you're the type of guy like me. I am more of a mountain man, so I don't really like cities or anything like that. I prefer to be in the forest as much as possible because I can actually live in the forest for months at a time, okay? But in the meantime, I'm at one of the really cool ones. You saw this one on the way in on the video, so now I'm going to go ahead and show you it. It's really big. It's got a lot of art decor on the inside. As you can see, there's lots of seating on the inside. There's actually a stage. I'm pretty sure this is a type of amphitheater. So I'm going to do a 360 around this thing and kind of show it to you. And then after that, we'll go inside. So this all is tin steel. Okay. Now, tin steel is steel. It's just very thin. Okay, just to let you guys know that it's all really thin. This has all been built and constructed. There's welds, there's air vents, there's all kinds of stuff like that up on top. I just passed them right there. As you can see right up there, those are in fact solar panels. I'll probably find out what they're for on the inside, but it does have a ladder to get all the way up to it, to the upper walkways, but obviously that's not for us to climb. That's probably for the sake of doing some type of maintenance or some sort on this particular sculpture. But this one is totally awesome. And as you can see, it is big. It is very big. Tiny little wife. Big statue. Tiny little wife.
Yes, big statue.
See, now as you can see, there is an archway that I had passed where some people were walking out of it, and there is another archway here that you can walk into, and then there was the primary slide doors. So we're going to go ahead and walk in and check this one out. And this one appears to have an echo. And it's amazing how the lighting changes in something like this. I'll let you look up. It has an open screen roof. Okay. Now it is all screened in up there, so it allows the sunlight to come in here great. And it's got great amplification factors. But as you can see, the solar is in fact for this system right here. That is their battery box. This is their power control station for whatever they're doing in here. I'll show you the plaque real quick so you can see it. right there. This one's really hard to read. So we're going to go up right to there. Go ahead and pause it and read that if you want all the information off of it. And then as you can see, there are pictures everywhere, okay? Now this is a lot of photo from the construction of this, the kitchen crew, the logging, and everything, okay? There was a lot of logging and there still is logging in the state of Montana. Just so you guys know, there's sawmill pictures of some of the equipment, and then right there happens to be the kitchen staff, and it really does look like they had their work cut out for them. So there are tons of seats and a stage.
Probably used for education purposes, because that's one nice thing in the state of Montana is they take their kids to local areas to learn about stuff. So that's kind of cool. This was actually designed from a TP burner, which I guess was something they used in the logging industry. So they probably talk a little bit more about that. But I just realized something super interesting. The height on this is 75 feet. So it's not even half the size as Gus,
Whoa.
the Western March.
Oh.
Yeah.
You think this is big? Man, do I got a tree to show you. It's not gonna be in this video though, so keep an eye out for it, all right? It might be a short, it might be part of a video.
Or you might just have to watch the channel and find out.
Exactly. So, we're gonna go ahead and move on. This pretty much is the last sculpture that I can see in our tour that I'm giving you. Now, all these little vents, in case you were wondering, that is in fact for airflow. What they would do is they would fill this as high as they possibly can with anything that they needed to burn and then light it. It would keep the fire contained, but each one of these, if you notice, I'm going to walk back out to the outside. If you notice, every single one of these is angled, okay? The reason it's angled is because when the wind gets in and the fire's sucking in the oxygen from the bottom in order to burn, it creates a vortex. That vortex keeps the flames in check, essentially. It basically contains them to the inside, turns it into a massive incinerator, and keeps the heat from going anywhere away from the fire other than straight up, okay? So if you've ever seen a fire tornado or anything like that, this is essentially what they made to basically produce that type of fire. That way, everything goes straight up. They have it screened into the top up there. You can see the screening. And that was to go ahead and prevent any embers from being able to launch out of this thing very easily and start fires anywhere else. The ladder on it obviously is so that they can get up and knock the soot off the screen once it had cooled down. But this is how the thing works. And you can see all the vents. You can see the secondary vent right there. And then the pipe sticking out is also another air intake slash exit, okay? So that's kind of how these things worked. Like I said, it's a massive incinerator, all right? So we're gonna head out. You guys take care. If you liked anything in this video, do me a favor and do my wife a favor. Leave a like on it, okay? Because that helps out the channel a lot. It really does. It gets the videos out there for more people to be able to watch them and helps us get into the algorithm a little bit more. Other than that, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do it. Like I said, I do a lot of different stuff. I'm not a topic specific channel, okay? It's boring doing the same thing all the time. Don't you agree? I do, right?
It is nice being able to travel around and show you all kinds of cool stuff because we're seeing some stuff for the first time too. So it's nice to be able to share that with you. And with that comment, make sure you're sharing this with your friends.
Exactly. All right, and don't forget your notification bell. We'll see you next time. It's next time. No, I'm just kidding. Later, guys.